The Boeing AH-64 Apache is an American four-blade, twin-turboshaft attack helicopter with a tailwheel-type landing gear arrangement and a tandem cockpit for a two-man crew. It features a nose-mounted sensor suite for target acquisition and night vision systems. It is armed with a 30mm M230 chain gun carried between the main landing gear under the aircraft's forward fuselage. It has 4 hardpoints mounted on stub-wing pylons, typically carrying a mixture of AGM-114 Hellfire missiles and Hydra 70 rocket pods. The AH-64 has a large amount of systems redundancy to improve combat survivability. The Apache originally started as the Model 77 developed by Hughes Helicopters for the United States Army's Advanced Attack Helicopter Program to replace the R-1 Cobra. The prototype AH-64 was first flown on 30 September 1975. The U.S. Army selected the AH-64 over the Bell AH-63 in 1976, and later approved full production in 1982. After purchasing Hughes Helicopters in 1984, McDonnell Douglas continued AH-64 production and development. The helicopter was introduced to U.S. Army service in April 1986. The first production AH-64D Apache Longbow, an upgraded Apache variant, was delivered to the Army in March 1997. Production has been continued by Boeing Defense, Space and AMP Security. Over 2,000 AH-64s have been produced to date. The U.S. Army is the primary operator of the AH-64. It has also become the primary attack helicopter of multiple nations, including Greece, Japan, Israel, the Netherlands, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates, as well as being produced under license in the United Kingdom as the Augusta Westland Apache. American AH-64s have served in conflicts in Panama, the Persian Gulf, Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Israel used the Apache in its military conflicts in Lebanon and the Gaza Strip. British and Dutch Apaches have seen deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. Development: Advanced attack helicopter following the cancellation of the AH-56 Cheyenne in 1972, in favor of projects like the U.S. Air Force A-10 Thunderbolt II and the Marine Corps Harrier. The United States Army sought an aircraft to fill an anti-armor attack role that would still be under Army command. The 1948 Key West Agreement forbade the Army from owning combat fixed-wing aircraft. The Army wanted an aircraft better than the R-1 Cobra in firepower, performance and range. It would have the maneuverability for terrain following nap of the earth flying. To this end, the U.S. Army issued a request for proposals for an advanced attack helicopter on 15 November 1972. As a sign of the importance of this project, in September 1973 the Army designated its 5 most important projects as the Big Five, with the R included. Proposals were submitted by Bell, Boeing, Vertel, Grumman Team, Hughes, Lockheed, and Sikorsky. In July 1973, the U.S. Department of Defense selected finalists Bell and Hughes Aircraft's Toolco Aircraft Division. This began the Phase 1 of the competition. Each company built prototype helicopters and went through a flight test program. Hughes Model 77 AH-64A prototype first flew on 30 September 1975, while Bell's Model 409 AH-63A prototype first flew on 1 October 1975. After evaluating the test results, the Army selected Hughes AH-64A over Bell's AH-63A in 1976. Reasons for selecting the AH-64A included its small damage-tolerant four-blade main rotor and the instability of the AH-63's tricycle landing gear arrangement. The AH-64A then entered Phase 2 of the AH program, under which 3 pre-production AH-64s would be built. Additionally, the 2 AH-64A flight prototypes and the ground test unit were upgraded to the same standard. Weapons and sensor systems were integrated and tested during this time, including the laser-guided AGM-114 Hellfire missile. Development of the Hellfire missile had begun in 1974, originally known by the name of helicopter-launched fire-and-forget missile, for the purpose of arming helicopter platforms with an effective anti-tank missile. Into production. In 1981, 3 pre-production AH-64s were handed over to the U.S. Army for operational test 2. The Army testing was successful, but afterward it was decided to upgrade to the more powerful T700GE701 version of engine, rated at 1,690 shp. The AH-64 was named the Apache in late 1981, keeping with the Army's traditional use of American Indian tribal names for its helicopters, and it was approved for full-scale production in 1982. In 1983, the first production helicopter was rolled out at Hughes Helicopters facility at Mesa, Arizona. Hughes Helicopters was purchased by McDonnell Douglas for $470 million in 1984. The helicopter unit later became part of the Boeing company with the merger of Boeing and McDonnell Douglas in August 1997. In 1986, the incremental flyaway cost for the AH-64A was $7 million and the average unit cost was approximately $13.9 million based on total costs. During the 1980s, McDonnell Douglas studied an AH-64B featuring an updated cockpit, new fire control system and other upgrades. In 1988, funding was approved for a multi-stage upgrade program to improve sensor in weapons systems. Technological advance led to the program's cancellation in favor of more ambitious changes. In August 1990, development of the AH-64D Apache longbow was approved by the Defense Acquisition Board. The first AH-64D prototype flew on 15 April 1992. Prototype testing ended in April 1995. During testing, 6 AH-64D helicopters were pitted against a numerically superior group of AH-64A helicopters. The results demonstrated the AH-64D to have a 7 times increase in survivability and 4 times increase in lethality compared to the AH-64A. On 13 October 1995, full-scale production was approved. A $1.90 billion 5-year contract was signed in August 1996 to rebuild 232 AH-64s to AH-64D standard. On 17 March 1997, the first production AH-64D first flew. It was delivered on 31 March. Portions of the Apache are produced by various aerospace firms. AgustaWestland has produced number of components for the Apache, both for the international market and for the British Army's AgustaWestland Apache. Since 2004, Korea Aerospace Industries has been the sole manufacturer of the Apache's fuselage. Fuselage production had previously been performed by Teledyne Ryan Aeronautical. The transfer of fuselage production led to a prolonged legal dispute between Teledyne Ryan and Boeing. The AH-64D program cost a total of $11 billion through 2007. In April 2006, Boeing was awarded a $67.6 million fixed-price contract for the remanufacture of several existing U.S. AH-64s to the AH-64 configuration between May 2009 and July 2011. A further 5 contracts were issued to remanufacture batches of AH-64s to the upgraded D variant. Since 2008, nations operating the older AH-64A have been urged to undertake modernization programs to become AH-64Ds, as Boeing and the U.S. Army plans to terminate support for the A variants in the near future. Design overview: the AH-64 Apache has a 4-blade main rotor and a 4-blade tail rotor. A crew sits in tandem, with the pilot sitting behind and above the co-pilot gunner. Both crew members are capable of flying the aircraft and performing methods of weapon engagements independently. The AH-64 is powered by 2 General Electric T700 turboshaft engines with high-mounted exhausts on either side of the fuselage. Various models of engines have been used on the Apache. Those in British service use engines from Rolls-Royce. In 2004, General Electric Aviation began producing more powerful T700GE701D engines, rated at 2000 shp for AH-64Ds. A crew compartment has shielding between the cockpits, such that at least one crew member can survive hits. The compartment and the rotor blades are designed to sustain a hit from 23mm rounds. The airframe includes some 2,500 pounds of protection and has a self-sealing fuel system to protect against ballistic projectiles. The aircraft was designed to meet the crashworthiness requirements of MIL STD 1290, which specifies minimum requirement for crash impact energy attenuation to minimize crew injuries and fatalities. This was achieved through incorporation of increased structural strength, crashworthy landing gear, seats and fuel system. On a standard day where temperatures are 59 degrees Fahrenheit, the AH-64 has a vertical rate of climb of 1,775 feet per minute, and a service ceiling of 21,000 feet. However, on a hot day where temperatures are 70 degrees Fahrenheit, its vertical rate of climb is reduced to 1,595 fpm, and service ceiling is reduced to 19,400 feet due to less dense air. Avionics and targeting. One of the revolutionary features of the Apache was its helmet-mounted display. The integrated helmet and display sighting system. Among its capabilities, either the pilot or gunner can slave the helicopter's 30mm automatic M230 chain gun to the helmet, making the gun track head movements to point where they look. The M230E1 can be alternatively fixed to a locked forward firing position, or controlled via the target acquisition and designation system. On more modern AH-64s, the TADS-PNVS has been replaced by Lockheed Martin's Arrowhead targeting system. U.S. Army engagement training is performed under the Aerial Weapons Scoring System integration with Longbow Apache Tactical Engagement Simulation System, using live 30mm and rocket ammunition as well as simulated Hellfire missiles. The Smart Onboard Data Interface module transmits Apache data to an AWSS ground station for gunnery evaluation. The AH-64's standard of performance for aerial gunnery is to achieve at least one hit for every 30 shots fired at a wheeled vehicle at a range of 800 to 1,200 meters. The AH-64 was designed to perform in frontline environments, and to operate at night, day and during adverse weather conditions. Various sensors and onboard avionics allows the Apache to perform in these conditions. Such systems include the Target Acquisition and Designation System, Pilot Night Vision System, Passive Infrared Countermeasures, GPS, and the IHADSS. Longbow-equipped Apaches can locate up to 256 targets simultaneously within 50 kilometers. In August 2012, 24 U.S. Army AH-64Ds were equipped with the Ground Fire Acquisition System, which detects and targets ground-based weapons fire sources in all light conditions and with a 120 degrees visual field. The GFAS consists of two sensor pods working with the AH-64's other sensors, and a thermographic camera that precisely locates muzzle flashes. In 2014, it was announced that new targeting and surveillance sensors were under development to provide high-resolution color imagery to crews, replacing older low-definition black and white imaging systems. Lockheed received the first contract in January 2016, upgrading the Arrowhead turret to provide higher resolution color imaging with longer ranges and a wider field of view. In 2014, the U.S. Army was adapting its Apaches for increased maritime performance as part of the Pentagon's rebalance to the Pacific. Additional avionics and sensor improvements includes an extended-range radar capable of detecting small ships in littoral environments, software adaptations to handle maritime targets, and adding Link 16 data links for better communications with friendly assets. Armaments and configurations. The AH-64 is adaptable to numerous different roles within its context as close combat attack. In addition to the 30mm M230E1 chain gun, the Apache carries a range of external stores and weapons on its stub-wing pylons, typically a mixture of AGM-114 Hellfire anti-tank missiles, and Hydra 70 general-purpose unguided 70mm rockets. One 18-aircraft Apache battalion equipped with Hellfire missiles is capable of destroying 288 tanks. Since 2005, the Hellfire missile is sometimes outfitted with a thermobrick warhead, designated AGM-114N. It is intended for use against ground forces and urban warfare operations. The use of thermobrick enhanced blast weapons, such as the AGM-114N, has been a point of controversy. In October 2015, the U.S. Army ordered its first batch of advanced precision kill weapon system guided 70mm rockets for the Apache. Starting in the 1980s, the Stinger and AIM-9 sidewinder air-to-air missiles and the AGM-122 sidearm anti-radiation missile were evaluated for use upon the AH-64. The Stinger was initially selected. The U.S. Army was also considering the Starstreak air-to-air missile. External fuel tanks can also be carried on the stub-wings to increase range and mission time. The stub-wing pylons have mounting points for maintenance access. These mountings can be used to secure externally personnel for emergency transportation. Stinger missiles are often used on non-U.S. Apaches, as foreign forces do not have as many air superiority aircraft to control the skies. The AH-64E initially lacked the ability to use the Stinger to make room for self-defense equipment, but the capability was re-added following a South Korean demand. The AH-64E Apache has the ability to control unmanned aerial vehicles used by the U.S. Army to perform aerial scouting training missions previously performed by the O-58 Kiowa. Apaches can request to take control of an RQ-7 Shadow or MQ-1C Grey Eagle from ground control stations to safely scout via data link communications. There are 4 levels of UAV interoperability. LOI-1 indirectly receives payload data. LOI-2 receives payload data through direct communication. LOI-3 deploys the UAV's armaments, and LOI-4 takes over flight control. UAVs can search for enemies and, if equipped with a laser designator, target them for the Apache or other friendly aircraft. Boeing has suggested that the AH-64 could be fitted with a directed energy weapon. The company has developed a small laser weapon, initially designed to engage small UAVs, that uses a high-resolution telescope to direct a 2 to 10 kilowatts beam with the diameter of a penny out to a range of 5.4 nmi. On the Apache, the laser could be used to destroy enemy communications or radio equipment. On the 14th of July 2016, it was reported that the AH-64 had successfully completed testing of the MBDA Brimstone anti-armor missile.